Have you ever felt the heat rising within you? A burning frustration that seems impossible to contain? Or perhaps you found yourself replaying a hurtful moment over and over in your mind, unable to let go. Anger is a powerful emotion, one that can cloud our judgment and consume our happiness. But what if there was a way to free yourself from this weight? What if you could learn to erase anger from your life entirely? Consider this. Imagine walking through a beautiful garden, surrounded by vibrant flowers and the gentle sound of rustling leaves. In this moment, there is peace, joy, and freedom. Now, think about how different this feels compared to the chaos of anger. The choice is yours. Will you allow anger to dominate your life, or will you discover the tools to transform it into serenity? Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we explore the depths of Buddhist wisdom to help you navigate life's challenges. If you're finding value in our discussions, remember, there are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more transformative insights to you and others seeking a path to peace. In this video, we'll delve deep into the concept of anger, exploring its roots and how it manifests in our lives. We'll uncover transformative Buddhist practices that can guide us toward a calmer, more balanced existence. Together, we will embark on a journey to understand the nature of anger and learn how to cultivate inner peace. By the end of this video, you will have valuable insights and practical advice that can help you erase anger from your life. So stay tuned and let's take this journey together. Understanding the roots of anger. Anger is a complex emotion, often rooted in our experiences and perceptions. To truly understand anger, we must first look at where it comes from. At its core, anger often arises from feelings of hurt, fear, or frustration. When something threatens our sense of self or disrupts our peace, our natural response can be to lash out. It's important to realize that anger is not inherently bad. It's a signal, a warning that something is amiss in our lives. Let's take a moment to consider how anger manifests. Picture a small flame flickering in a dark room. At first, it might seem harmless, but if left unattended, that flame can grow into a roaring fire, consuming everything in its path. Similarly, when we don't address our anger, it can escalate, leading to destructive actions and toxic relationships. In Buddhism, understanding the roots of anger is vital. One key teaching is the concept of ignorance, not just lack of knowledge, but a misunderstanding of reality. We often cling to our views and beliefs, mistaking them for the truth. This clinging can lead to feelings of anger when those beliefs are challenged. For example, if someone criticizes your work, you might feel defensive and angry because you perceive that criticism as a threat to your identity. Another root of anger is attachment. In Buddhism, attachment refers to our tendency to cling to people, possessions, and even ideas. We form attachments to our desires and expectations, and when reality doesn't align with those attachments, frustration and anger can arise. Think about a time when you wanted something desperately, a promotion at work, a relationship, or even just a peaceful day. When things didn't go as you wished, did you feel a sense of anger or disappointment? This is a natural response to unmet desires. Moreover, our past experiences shape how we react to situations. If we've been hurt or betrayed in the past, we might carry that pain with us. This baggage can make us more sensitive to perceived threats, leading to anger in situations that don't warrant it. Understanding this connection between our past and our current emotions is crucial in learning how to manage anger. Buddhism teaches that the first step in dealing with anger is awareness. By recognizing when anger arises and understanding its roots, we can begin to break the cycle. When you feel anger bubbling up, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what triggered this emotion? Am I reacting based on past experiences or fears? Is my anger based on something that is truly happening right now? Or is it a reaction to my expectations or attachments? Mindfulness is a powerful tool in this process. It encourages us to be present with our emotions without judgment. Instead of pushing anger away or trying to suppress it, mindfulness allows us to observe our feelings with curiosity. This practice can help us detach from the intensity of anger and see it for what it truly is, a temporary state that doesn't define us. One effective method for cultivating awareness is to practice the RAIN technique. RAIN stands for recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture. When you notice anger arising, start by recognizing it. Acknowledge that you are feeling angry without trying to deny or suppress it. Next, allow yourself to feel that anger without judgment. Understand that it's okay to feel angry. It's a part of being human. Then, investigate the root of your anger. Ask yourself questions to uncover the underlying feelings. What am I truly upset about? What is my mind telling me? Often, this investigation reveals deeper emotions, like sadness or fear, that we might be avoiding. Finally, nurture yourself with compassion. Remind yourself that it's okay to feel this way, and give yourself the kindness you deserve in that moment. This approach shifts our relationship with anger. Instead of being controlled by it, we learn to respond to it with understanding and care. Over time, this practice can lead to a profound change in how we experience anger. We start to see it as a passing cloud in the sky, rather than a storm that threatens to engulf us. As we continue to explore anger in this series, remember that understanding the roots of anger is a journey, not a destination. By cultivating awareness and compassion, we can start to transform our relationship with this powerful emotion. The next time you feel anger rising, take a moment to reflect. What is this emotion trying to teach you? How can you respond with wisdom and kindness instead of reactivity? By learning to understand anger, we open the door to healing and growth. In our next part, we will dive deeper into the Buddhist path to inner peace, exploring practices that can help us navigate our emotions with grace and serenity. Together, we will uncover the tools to cultivate a life free from the shackles of anger. The Buddhist path to inner peace. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some people, no matter what happens around them, remain calm and centered? How can they stay peaceful in a world that often feels so chaotic? The answer lies in something that goes far deeper than just managing emotions. It's a path, a way of living, and in Buddhism, we call it the path to inner peace. Now, you might be thinking, I can't always stay calm. Anger comes up when things go wrong, and that's completely normal. But what if I told you that peace isn't about never feeling angry, but learning how to respond when anger appears? That's what the Buddhist path teaches us, not to deny our emotions, but to understand them and transform them. The very first thing we need to realize is that anger, like all emotions, comes from within us. It might seem like it's caused by the things happening around us. Someone cutting you off in traffic, a rude comment from a friend, or a frustrating situation at work, but the real cause lies inside. It's in our reaction to what happens, not the event itself. The Buddha taught us that everything starts in the mind. If we can understand the mind, we can control how we react to the world around us. The Buddhist path offers us tools and practices that help us stay grounded in peace, even when life seems to be pulling us in all directions. One of the key teachings is the Noble Eightfold Path, a guide to living a life that leads to the end of suffering. But today, let's focus on the parts of this path that directly help with anger, right understanding and right thought. The first step to peace is understanding the nature of anger. What is anger really? It's a reaction to something we perceive as wrong, unfair, or harmful. But that reaction is just a thought, and all thoughts can change. When you begin to see anger as just another temporary feeling, something that rises and falls like waves in the ocean, it loses some of its power. Right understanding means recognizing that anger, like all emotions, is impermanent. It doesn't define you. It's just passing through. With this understanding, we can move on to right thought, which means replacing negative thoughts with positive, constructive ones. Instead of letting anger take over, we practice thinking in ways that bring us peace. For example, if someone says something hurtful, instead of getting angry, we can think, this person is also suffering. Maybe that's why they're acting this way. Compassion replaces anger, and we can respond from a place of calm rather than reacting impulsively. Right speech and right action. Once we've gained control over our thoughts, it's time to look at how we express ourselves. Right speech is about being mindful of the words we use. Anger often comes out through hurtful words, but when we're on the Buddhist path, we learn to pause before speaking. Is what I'm about to say kind? Is it true? Is it necessary? If not, it's better left unsaid. This isn't about suppressing your feelings, but about finding ways to express them without causing harm to others or yourself. Similarly, right action reminds us to act in ways that are peaceful and beneficial. When anger arises, it's easy to want to lash out or do something we might regret later. But through practice, we learn to pause and act from a place of wisdom. Instead of reacting in anger, we can choose to take a walk, meditate, or simply breathe deeply until the feeling passes. The role of meditation. One of the most powerful tools in the Buddhist path to inner peace is meditation. Meditation helps us develop the ability to observe our emotions without getting swept away by them. Think of your mind like a clear lake. When anger arises, it's like a stone being thrown into the lake, causing ripples. Meditation teaches us to watch the ripples without reacting, knowing that they will eventually fade away, and the lake will be calm again. There are many forms of meditation, but one that's especially helpful for dealing with anger is loving-kindness meditation, or metta. In this practice, you focus on sending loving and kind thoughts to yourself, to the people you care about, and even to those who have hurt you. Over time, this practice softens the heart and makes it easier to let go of anger. It's hard to stay angry at someone when you're actively wishing them peace and happiness, impermanence and letting go. Another important teaching in Buddhism is the concept of impermanence. Everything in life is constantly changing. Our thoughts, our feelings, and even the situations that trigger our anger. When we deeply understand this, it becomes easier to let go of negative emotions. Why hold on to anger when it's just going to pass away anyway? The next time you feel anger rising, remind yourself, this too shall pass. By not clinging to the feeling, by letting it flow through you instead of getting stuck, you can move through it with much more ease. Cultivating patience and compassion. A peaceful life is one that is built on patience. Anger often arises when we want things to happen a certain way and they don't. But when we cultivate patience, we learn to accept life as it is, rather than fighting against it. Patience helps us realize that things won't always go our way, and that's okay. It teaches us to pause, breathe, and allow situations to unfold without reacting impulsively. Alongside patience, we also need to cultivate compassion. Compassion for ourselves when we feel angry, and compassion for others who may be the source of our frustration. The Buddha teaches that all beings suffer in some way, and anger often comes from this suffering. By remembering that we are all struggling in our own ways, we can soften our hearts and let go of the need to react with anger. Compassion turns anger into understanding, and that understanding leads to peace. Practicing mindfulness in everyday life. The final key to walking the Buddhist path to inner peace is mindfulness. Mindfulness means being fully present in the moment, aware of your thoughts, emotions, and surroundings. When you are mindful, you can catch anger before it takes control. You can feel it rising and choose how to respond, rather than reacting automatically. This practice isn't just something you do while meditating. You can be mindful in every moment, when you're working, talking to friends, or even doing something as simple as washing the dishes. The more mindful you become, the more you can live each moment with a sense of peace and calm. Walking the path. The path to inner peace is not about becoming perfect or never feeling angry again. It's about learning to walk through life with awareness, compassion, and wisdom. It's about realizing that anger doesn't have to control you. You have the power to choose how you respond to everything that comes your way. Through understanding, meditation, mindfulness, and compassion, you can transform your relationship with anger. You don't have to hold on to it. You don't have to let it weigh you down. With each step you take on the Buddhist path, you will find yourself becoming lighter, more peaceful, and more in tune with the calm that is always available within you. So, take that first step today. Begin by observing your thoughts, pausing before you speak, and choosing compassion over anger. Little by little, you will start to see the changes in yourself, and that calm, peaceful person you've always admired will be you. Cultivating mindfulness to dissolve anger. Anger often feels like a storm brewing inside us, unpredictable and intense. But just as we learn to prepare for a storm, we can also learn to manage our emotions. One of the most effective ways to handle anger is through mindfulness. Mindfulness is about being present, fully experiencing each moment without judgment. When we practice mindfulness, we become aware of our feelings, including anger, without letting them take control. Imagine you're sitting by a calm lake. As you gaze at the water, you see the reflection of the sky. Sometimes, the surface is smooth and serene, but other times, it's rippled by the wind. In this metaphor, your mind is like that lake. When anger arises, it's like the wind disturbing the water. Mindfulness helps us recognize these ripples without letting them overwhelm us. To cultivate mindfulness, start by focusing on your breath. Take a moment to sit quietly and notice how your body feels. Inhale deeply through your nose, feeling your chest rise, and exhale slowly through your mouth. As you breathe, pay attention to the sensations in your body. Are there areas of tension? Is your heart racing? Acknowledging these feelings is the first step toward understanding your anger. When anger strikes, instead of reacting immediately, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? This question can help you uncover the deeper emotions behind your anger, such as fear, sadness, or frustration. By understanding these underlying feelings, you can respond more skillfully rather than simply reacting out of anger. Another powerful mindfulness technique is to observe your thoughts without judgment. Imagine your thoughts as clouds passing through the sky. Some clouds may be dark and heavy, representing your anger, while others are light and fluffy, symbolizing joy and peace. Instead of clinging to the dark clouds, let them drift by. Remind yourself that thoughts are temporary. They do not define who you are. Mindfulness can also be practiced through mindful walking. As you take each step, pay attention to the sensations in your feet and legs. Notice how your body moves, the rhythm of your breath, and the environment around you. If you start to feel anger bubbling up, focus on your surroundings. The colors of the trees, the sound of birds chirping, or the feel of the ground beneath your feet. This connection to the present moment can help diffuse your anger. Regular mindfulness practice can lead to a shift in how you perceive and react to anger. When anger arises, instead of feeling overwhelmed, you may begin to notice it as just another feeling, an experience passing through your awareness. This shift in perspective is transformative. You're no longer a victim of your emotions, but rather an observer, which gives you the power to choose how to respond. Incorporating mindfulness into your daily routine is essential for long-term emotional balance. Start small. Set aside just 5 minutes each day for mindfulness meditation. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath. Over time, as you build this habit, you'll find it easier to remain calm in challenging situations. As you become more mindful, you'll also notice how it impacts your relationships. When you're aware of your feelings, you can communicate more effectively and avoid misunderstandings. Instead of lashing out in anger, you'll be able to express your feelings calmly and clearly, fostering healthier connections with others. Furthermore, mindfulness encourages empathy. When we practice being present, we become more attuned to the feelings of those around us. This awareness can help us respond with kindness instead of anger, even in difficult situations. Remember, everyone has their struggles, and a little compassion can go a long way in diffusing tension. Mindfulness is not a quick fix. It's a lifelong practice. Just as a tree grows slowly, developing strong roots over time, our capacity for mindfulness deepens with consistent practice. As you cultivate this skill, you'll find it easier to let go of anger and embrace a more peaceful existence. In moments of anger, remember to take a step back and breathe. Give yourself the space to process your emotions without judgment. With time and dedication, you'll learn to navigate the storm of anger with grace and calmness. Ultimately, mindfulness allows us to live more fully in the present moment. Instead of being trapped in past grievances or future worries, we can experience life as it unfolds. This shift is liberating. Anger loses its grip on us when we learn to embrace the present and let go of what no longer serves us. By practicing mindfulness, we cultivate a sense of inner peace that permeates all aspects of our lives. So, as you move forward, remember the power of being present. With mindfulness, you can transform anger into understanding, chaos into calm, and suffering into serenity. The practice of compassion and loving kindness. In the heart of Buddhist teachings lies the profound practice of compassion and loving kindness. These are not just words. They are transformative actions that have the power to change our relationship with anger and, ultimately, with ourselves. When we cultivate compassion, we begin to see the world through the lens of understanding and empathy, rather than through the narrow view of anger and resentment. Compassion, at its core, is the ability to recognize the suffering of others and respond to it with a genuine desire to help. It starts with an awareness of our own struggles and the understanding that everyone, including those who anger us, has their own battles to fight. Think about a time when you were upset with someone. Perhaps they snapped at you or failed to meet your expectations. Instead of allowing that moment to fester into anger, consider what might be happening in their life. They could be dealing with stress, loss, or pain that you can't see. This awareness opens the door to compassion, allowing us to respond with kindness rather than hostility. Loving kindness, or metta as it is known in Pali, is a practice that encourages us to wish well for ourselves and others. It's about cultivating a heart filled with goodwill and affection. Imagine starting each day by silently repeating phrases like, "May I be happy," "May I be healthy," "May I be safe." After nurturing these kind thoughts for yourself, gradually extend them to loved ones, acquaintances, and even those who challenge you. This practice not only softens your heart, but also diminishes the hold anger has on you. When we wish for the happiness of others, our own anger often begins to dissolve. A simple way to practice compassion and loving kindness is through meditation. Find a quiet space and sit comfortably. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Begin with yourself. Imagine sending love and warmth to your heart. Feel it radiating outward, touching your entire being. Once you feel this loving energy, extend it to someone you care about, then to a neutral person in your life, and finally to someone with whom you have difficulties. This process not only helps you develop compassion, but also allows you to see the common humanity in everyone. Another effective way to foster compassion is through acts of kindness. Simple gestures, like offering a smile to a stranger, helping a friend in need, or volunteering your time, can shift your perspective. These small actions create ripples of positivity that not only affect others, but also cultivate joy within yourself. Each time you choose kindness over anger, you are reinforcing a habit that can become a natural response over time. Compassionate listening is also an essential practice. When someone is speaking to you, truly listen without judgment or interruption. Allow them to express their feelings and try to understand their perspective. This practice not only helps you connect with others, but also prevents misunderstandings that often lead to anger. When you listen with an open heart, you create a safe space for dialogue and healing. As you cultivate these qualities, it's important to remember that compassion and loving kindness do not mean condoning harmful behavior. They are about recognizing our shared humanity and responding with understanding. When faced with anger or hurtful actions from others, you can acknowledge the pain without allowing it to fester into bitterness. Instead, choose to respond with compassion, which can break the cycle of negativity. It's also crucial to practice self-compassion. Many of us are quick to judge ourselves harshly when we experience anger. Remember, it's natural to feel anger. It's part of being human. Instead of criticizing yourself for these feelings, embrace them with kindness. Acknowledge your emotions without guilt or shame. By practicing self-compassion, you allow yourself the space to process your feelings and transform them into something positive. In Buddhism, there's a beautiful teaching about the interconnectedness of all beings. When you cultivate compassion and loving kindness, you begin to recognize that your happiness is tied to the happiness of others. When you release anger and choose kindness, you contribute to a ripple effect that can touch many lives. Every act of compassion is a seed planted in the garden of our world, nurturing peace and understanding. The practice of compassion and loving kindness is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong journey. It requires patience and commitment, much like any skill. Some days will be easier than others, and that's okay. When you find yourself slipping back into anger, gently remind yourself of the importance of compassion. Return to your practice and allow it to guide you back to a place of peace. In moments of anger, try to pause and ask yourself, what would compassion look like right now? This simple question can redirect your thoughts and actions, helping you respond in a way that aligns with your values. Over time, you'll find that the more you practice compassion, the less hold anger will have over you. As we move forward in this exploration of erasing anger from our lives, remember that compassion and loving kindness are powerful allies. They help dissolve the barriers that anger creates, leading us toward a more harmonious existence. Embrace these practices with an open heart and watch as your life transforms in beautiful and unexpected ways. Transforming anger through meditation. Meditation is a powerful tool that can help us transform anger into peace. When we sit quietly, we create space to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. This practice is like shining a light on the darkness of our anger, allowing us to see it clearly and understand its nature. Imagine yourself in a quiet room. You close your eyes and take a deep breath. With each inhale, feel the air filling your lungs, and with each exhale, imagine letting go of the tension that is built up inside. This simple act of breathing can ground you, helping you realize that anger is just an emotion, not who you are. It rises and falls, much like waves in the ocean. As you meditate, focus on the sensations in your body. Where do you feel anger? Is it in your chest, your stomach, or perhaps your shoulders? Acknowledge these feelings without trying to push them away. Instead of resisting anger, you learn to accept it. This acceptance is the first step toward transformation. By simply observing your anger, you start to take away its power. In Buddhism, there is a practice called noting. When a thought of anger arises, you can silently say to yourself, "Anger." This simple act of labeling allows you to create distance between yourself and the emotion. You realize that anger is a temporary state of mind, not your true self. With practice, this technique helps you cultivate awareness, leading to a deeper understanding of your emotions. Once you become aware of your anger, you can also start to explore its underlying causes. What triggers your anger? Is it a specific person, a situation, or perhaps a past experience? Understanding these triggers is essential for transformation. Instead of reacting impulsively when anger arises, you can pause and reflect. This reflection allows you to respond with compassion rather than aggression. As you continue to meditate, visualize your anger as a cloud in the sky. Clouds come and go, but the sky remains unchanged. Your true self, like the sky, is always present, regardless of the storms of anger. Imagine the cloud of anger slowly drifting away, revealing the clear blue sky of your mind. This visualization can help you cultivate a sense of peace and calmness within. Another powerful technique is loving kindness meditation, or metta meditation. This practice involves silently repeating phrases of goodwill towards yourself and others. Start with yourself: "May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease." As you direct these loving thoughts towards yourself, you soften your heart, making it easier to let go of anger. Once you feel comfortable sending love to yourself, extend these wishes to others. Start with someone you care about, then gradually include those with whom you have conflict. Picture them in your mind and repeat the phrases: "May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease." This practice creates a sense of connection and compassion, transforming your anger into empathy. Over time, meditation helps you build resilience against anger. You learn to pause before reacting, allowing space for understanding. This newfound awareness creates an opportunity to choose how you respond. Instead of falling into old patterns of anger, you can respond with kindness and clarity. However, it's essential to remember that meditation is a journey, not a destination. It's normal for anger to arise from time to time. The goal is not to eliminate it completely, but to transform your relationship with it. With regular practice, you'll find that anger doesn't control you as it once did. Instead, you become the observer, witnessing your thoughts without being swept away. To deepen your meditation practice, consider setting aside a few minutes each day to sit in silence. Create a space that feels calming and inviting. Use a cushion or chair that supports your posture. As you sit, focus on your breath, allowing each inhale and exhale to ground you. If thoughts of anger arise, gently guide your attention back to your breath. You might also explore guided meditations, which can provide structure and support. Many resources are available online, offering guided sessions specifically for transforming anger. These meditations can help you build a regular practice, making it easier to incorporate meditation into your daily life. As you cultivate a meditation practice, remember to be patient with yourself. Transformation takes time, and it's essential to approach this journey with compassion. Celebrate the small victories along the way. Each moment of awareness is a step toward greater peace. By integrating meditation into your life, you create a sanctuary within yourself, a place where anger can dissolve and peace can flourish. Embrace this practice as a lifelong journey and allow it to guide you toward a more harmonious existence. In the moments when anger surfaces, remind yourself of the skills you are developing. Use your breath as an anchor, return to your meditation practice, and allow the storm of anger to pass. With time, you will find that you can navigate life's challenges with greater ease and clarity, transforming anger into a catalyst for growth and understanding. Through meditation, we learn that anger is just a passing wave in the vast ocean of our emotions. We become skilled surfers, riding the waves without fear, knowing that beneath the surface lies a deep reservoir of calm. This transformation is not only possible, it is within your reach. The role of patience in overcoming anger. Patience is often described as the ability to stay calm and composed, even when faced with challenges or frustrations. It's a virtue that holds immense power, especially when it comes to overcoming anger. In a world that moves so quickly, where we expect instant results and immediate gratification, practicing patience can feel like a lost art. Yet, in Buddhism, patience is a key element in cultivating a peaceful mind and a compassionate heart. Imagine a small stream flowing gently over rocks. It doesn't rush, it takes its time. It doesn't force its way through obstacles. Instead, it flows around them, gracefully adapting to its surroundings. This is the essence of patience. When anger arises, we often react impulsively, allowing our emotions to dictate our actions. However, by embracing patience, we can create space between our feelings and our reactions. When faced with anger, the first step is to pause. Take a deep breath. Allow yourself a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, what is causing this anger? Is it truly worth my energy? Often, anger is rooted in misunderstanding or unmet expectations. By taking a moment to consider the situation, you may find that your anger is based on assumptions rather than facts. Consider the story of a monk who was often disturbed by the noise of the village outside his monastery. At first, he felt frustration each time he heard laughter or music. The noise interrupted his meditation and disrupted his peace. One day, he decided to address his anger by practicing patience. Instead of reacting with irritation, he observed the sounds with curiosity. Over time, he began to appreciate the joy of the villagers, realizing that their happiness didn't take away from his peace. Instead, he found a way to coexist with the noise, embracing it as a part of life. This story teaches us that patience allows us to shift our perspective. Instead of seeing anger as a response to external circumstances, we can recognize it as an opportunity for growth. Each time we feel anger rising, we have a choice: to react impulsively or to respond with patience. When we choose the latter, we create a space for understanding and compassion. Buddhist teachings emphasize that patience is not just the absence of anger. It is an active engagement with our emotions. It involves recognizing our feelings without judgment and allowing ourselves to experience them fully. This doesn't mean we suppress our anger or pretend it doesn't exist. Instead, we acknowledge it, sit with it, and allow it to pass. Practicing patience also helps us develop empathy. When we encounter anger in ourselves, we can extend that understanding to others. Perhaps someone is acting out of anger because they are suffering in ways we cannot see. By cultivating patience, we create a bridge of connection, fostering compassion in ourselves and in our interactions with others. Moreover, patience can lead to better decision-making. When we are angry, we often say or do things we later regret. However, when we practice patience, we give ourselves the opportunity to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This thoughtful response can lead to more constructive outcomes in our relationships and daily interactions. To cultivate patience, consider incorporating mindfulness practices into your daily routine. Mindfulness encourages us to be present in the moment, observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment. When anger arises, mindfulness helps us acknowledge it, and create a pause before reacting. Simple techniques, such as focusing on your breath or engaging in meditation, can enhance your ability to remain calm in challenging situations. Another effective practice is to remind yourself of the impermanence of all things. Emotions, including anger, are temporary. They ebb and flow like the tides. When you remember this, it becomes easier to let go of anger and embrace a more peaceful state of being. Engaging in compassionate self-talk can also support your journey toward patience. Instead of criticizing yourself for feeling angry, try speaking to yourself as you would to a friend. Acknowledge your feelings without judgment and reassure yourself that it's okay to feel this way. This compassionate approach fosters a sense of understanding and kindness, which can help dissipate anger. Lastly, remember that patience is a skill that requires practice. Like any other skill, the more you work on it, the stronger it becomes. Start small, perhaps by practicing patience in low-stakes situations, like waiting in line or dealing with minor inconveniences. As you build this skill, you'll find that it translates to more significant challenges, allowing you to navigate anger with grace and ease. In summary, patience plays a crucial role in overcoming anger. By embracing the qualities of patience, reflection, empathy, and mindfulness, we can transform our responses to anger and cultivate a more peaceful existence. As we learn to pause, observe, and respond with compassion, we open ourselves to a life free from the burdens of anger, allowing us to experience the joy and beauty that each moment has to offer. Patience is not just about waiting. It is about how we act while we wait. So, let us practice patience, and in doing so, let us transform anger into understanding and peace. Non-attachment, letting go of ego. In our lives, we often find ourselves caught in a web of emotions and desires. We cling tightly to our beliefs, possessions, and even our identities. This clinging can lead to anger when things don't go our way or when we feel threatened. In Buddhism, the concept of non-attachment is essential for cultivating inner peace and happiness. Let's explore what non-attachment means and how it can help us let go of anger. Imagine holding a delicate butterfly in your hands. If you grip it too tightly, you risk hurting it, and it may escape your grasp entirely. But if you hold it gently, allowing it to rest freely, you can appreciate its beauty without causing harm. This metaphor applies to our lives and relationships. When we cling to our desires, we create tension and suffering for ourselves and others. By practicing non-attachment, we learn to appreciate the moments without the fear of losing them. Non-attachment does not mean indifference or lack of care. It means that we learn to appreciate things as they are, without the need to possess or control them. When we attach our happiness to external circumstances, we set ourselves up for disappointment. For example, if we tie our self-worth to our job, a setback at work can lead to feelings of anger and frustration. However, when we embrace non-attachment, we can find joy in our work while remaining open to change and growth. Let's consider a simple example. Think of a friend who has borrowed something from you. You may feel anxious about them returning it because you formed an attachment to that item. If they take longer than expected, you might feel anger or resentment. However, if you practice non-attachment, you can enjoy the act of sharing without feeling stressed about the outcome. You learn to see your possessions as temporary and to cherish the moments you spend with others. Non-attachment helps us recognize that our identities are not defined by our roles, possessions, or achievements. In the Buddhist tradition, the concept of anatta, or non-self, teaches us that our sense of self is fluid and ever-changing. By understanding this, we can let go of the ego that often drives our anger. When we take ourselves too seriously, we become more susceptible to feeling insulted or hurt. But when we embrace the idea that we are not defined by our egos, we can respond to life's challenges with greater ease. Practicing non-attachment also encourages us to accept the impermanence of life. Everything around us is constantly changing, and clinging to a fixed idea of how things should be can lead to suffering. When we learn to accept that change is a natural part of life, we can let go of our need for control. This acceptance can help us move through difficult emotions like anger with greater grace and understanding. To cultivate non-attachment, we can start by practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness allows us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. When we notice ourselves becoming attached to something, we can pause and ask ourselves, Is this thought or feeling serving me? This awareness helps us detach from our ego-driven desires and can lead to a deeper sense of peace. Another powerful practice is gratitude. By focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, we can shift our mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. When we appreciate the present moment, we become less attached to outcomes and more open to life's possibilities. This shift in perspective can diminish feelings of anger and frustration, allowing us to respond to challenges with a sense of calm. In our relationships, non-attachment can transform how we interact with others. When we stop expecting others to fulfill our needs or validate our self-worth, we free them from the pressure of our expectations. This shift can lead to healthier and more fulfilling connections. When we love without clinging, we create space for true intimacy and understanding. Additionally, non-attachment allows us to forgive more easily. Holding on to grudges only serves to fuel our anger and keep us trapped in a cycle of negativity. By letting go of our need to be right or to hold on to past hurts, we can open our hearts to forgiveness and healing. This process not only benefits others, but also liberates us from the burden of anger. As we embrace non-attachment, we also learn to trust in the flow of life. Instead of forcing outcomes, we can surrender to the natural unfolding of events. This trust can bring a sense of ease and comfort, allowing us to navigate life's ups and downs with grace. When we stop fighting against the current, we find ourselves moving in harmony with the world around us. In the Buddhist tradition, there is a powerful practice called letting go. This practice encourages us to release our grip on thoughts, emotions, and desires that no longer serve us. When we practice letting go, we create space for new experiences and insights. It is through this process of release that we can find true freedom from anger and resentment. Letting go is not a one-time event, but a continuous journey. It requires patience and compassion for ourselves as we navigate the challenges of life. Sometimes, we may find ourselves slipping back into old patterns of attachment and anger. This is normal. What matters is our commitment to recognizing these moments and gently returning to the path of non-attachment. In summary, embracing non-attachment is a powerful way to let go of anger and cultivate a sense of peace in our lives. By learning to appreciate life as it is, accepting impermanence, and practicing mindfulness and gratitude, we can free ourselves from the burdens of our egos. As we release our need to control and possess, we open our hearts to deeper connections and a more fulfilling existence. Remember, the journey of non-attachment is a gradual one. Be gentle with yourself as you explore this path. With each step, you'll find that letting go leads to a more joyful and peaceful life, free from the grip of anger. Practicing right speech to avoid anger. In the heart of Buddhist teachings lies a powerful truth. Our words hold immense power. They can build bridges or tear them down. They can heal wounds or inflict them. This is where the practice of right speech becomes crucial. Understanding how to communicate mindfully can greatly reduce the anger we feel and the anger we provoke in others. Right speech is one of the elements of the Noble Eightfold Path, guiding us toward ethical conduct. At its core, right speech encourages us to speak truthfully, kindly, and harmoniously. When we communicate with intention and awareness, we create an environment where anger is less likely to flourish. Imagine a situation where you are frustrated with a friend or a coworker. Perhaps they didn't meet your expectations, or they misunderstood you. In that moment of irritation, it's easy to lash out, to let words fly that may cause harm. However, this reaction often stems from our own anger and can escalate the situation further. Instead, take a moment to pause, breathe, consider how your words can either escalate the conflict or defuse it. Ask yourself, is what I'm about to say true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? This simple practice can shift your perspective from one of anger to one of compassion. For example, think of a time when a loved one misunderstood your intentions. Instead of responding with frustration, you could approach them with understanding. I see that there's been a misunderstanding. Let's talk about it. Can open the door to dialogue rather than confrontation. By focusing on clarity and kindness, you not only prevent anger from festering, but also strengthen your relationship. When we engage in right speech, we cultivate a habit of expressing ourselves with care. This doesn't mean avoiding difficult conversations or sugarcoating the truth. Rather, It means approaching these discussions with a clear mind and a kind heart. This balance allows for honest expression while reducing the potential for anger to rise. Another aspect of right speech is avoiding gossip and harmful talk. When we speak negatively about others, it not only affects our relationships, but can also increase our own anger. When we engage in gossip, we create a cycle of negativity that can come back to us. Instead, let's choose to speak of others with respect, even when we disagree. This creates a positive atmosphere where anger is less likely to thrive. Right speech also involves listening. Often, we get caught up in our own feelings of anger or frustration and forget to listen to the other person's perspective. Listening not only helps us understand the other person better, but it also calms our own emotional storm. When we truly listen, we open ourselves to compassion and understanding, reducing our likelihood of reacting with anger. In practicing right speech, we also learn to speak up for ourselves without aggression. It's possible to express our feelings and needs assertively and respectfully. For instance, instead of saying, "You always ignore me," you might say, "I feel overlooked when my ideas aren't considered. Can we discuss this?" This approach invites dialogue rather than defensiveness, promoting a more peaceful interaction. Another important principle of right speech is to refrain from harsh words. Harsh words can cut deep and often lead to regret. When we respond to anger with anger, we perpetuate the cycle of negativity. Instead, try using gentle language, even in tough situations. This doesn't mean being passive or submissive. It means choosing your words wisely to foster understanding and connection. Additionally, humor can be a powerful tool in right speech. When used appropriately, humor can lighten tense situations and help us see things from a different perspective. Laughter can diffuse anger and remind us of our shared humanity. However, it's essential to be mindful of the context and the feelings of those involved. Humor should never come at the expense of others or dismiss their emotions. It's also crucial to recognize when to remain silent. Sometimes, the best response is no response at all. If you feel anger rising within you, take a step back. Give yourself time to cool down and reflect before speaking. This pause can prevent hurtful words from escaping and allows you to respond more thoughtfully. In summary, practicing right speech is a transformative approach to communication that can significantly reduce anger in our lives. By choosing words that are truthful, kind, and necessary, we create an environment of respect and understanding. Listening actively and approaching conversations with compassion fosters connection rather than conflict. Remember, our words have the power to shape our reality. When we communicate with intention, we cultivate peace within ourselves and in our relationships. As we move forward, let us strive to be mindful of our speech, allowing it to be a tool for healing rather than harm. With every conversation, we have the opportunity to practice right speech and step closer to a life free from the burdens of anger. Embracing this practice, we can contribute to a more compassionate world where understanding and love thrive. Living with equanimity, balancing emotions. In the heart of Buddhist teachings lies a profound concept known as equanimity. It is the ability to maintain a calm and balanced mind, regardless of the circumstances we face. Picture a calm lake reflecting the sky. On a peaceful day, the water is still, mirroring the beauty above. But when a storm hits, the surface becomes turbulent. Equanimity is like that lake. It allows us to remain steady even when the storms of life rage around us. So, what does it mean to live with equanimity? At its core, it means not being overly affected by joy or sorrow, praise or blame, success or failure. Instead, we respond to life with a steady heart. This does not mean we become emotionless or indifferent. Rather, we learn to experience our emotions fully without letting them control us. Imagine a time when you received bad news. Perhaps it was a disappointing outcome at work or a falling out with a friend. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and reactive, isn't it? But when we practice equanimity, we acknowledge our feelings without letting them dictate our actions. We can feel sadness without spiraling into despair. We can feel anger without letting it cloud our judgment. One key to cultivating equanimity is understanding impermanence. Everything in life is transient, joys come and go, as do sorrows. Just as seasons change, so too do our emotions. When we grasp this truth, we can hold our feelings lightly. This doesn't mean we ignore our emotions. Instead, we recognize that they are temporary and part of the human experience. A simple practice to nurture equanimity is mindfulness meditation. By observing our thoughts and feelings without attachment, we create space between ourselves and our emotions. When a difficult emotion arises, like anger or frustration, we can sit quietly and notice it without judgment. We can ask ourselves, what is this feeling? Where does it come from? This self-inquiry helps us understand our emotions more deeply and respond with clarity rather than reactivity. Another essential aspect of equanimity is the cultivation of compassion. When we develop a kind heart toward ourselves and others, we create a foundation of balance. Compassion allows us to see the shared humanity in all of us, recognizing that everyone experiences pain and joy. This perspective helps us respond with kindness, even in challenging situations. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, late for an important meeting. Frustration begins to rise within you, and you feel the urge to lash out. Instead of succumbing to that impulse, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and acknowledge your frustration. I am feeling frustrated, and that's okay, you might say to yourself. Then, instead of letting that emotion dictate your next action, you could choose to use that time to listen to a podcast or practice gratitude for the day ahead. Cultivating equanimity also means recognizing the triggers that provoke strong emotions in us. By observing patterns in our responses, we can prepare ourselves for similar situations in the future. If you know that certain interactions tend to ignite your anger, you can approach them with a sense of awareness and intention, rather than letting them catch you off guard. Another powerful way to practice equanimity is to engage in loving-kindness meditation. This practice involves silently repeating phrases of goodwill toward ourselves and others. For instance, you might say, "May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering." As you extend these wishes to yourself, gradually include friends, acquaintances, and even those you may find challenging. This practice fosters compassion and helps us cultivate a balanced perspective toward others. Remember, living with equanimity is a journey, not a destination. It requires patience, practice, and a willingness to learn from our experiences. We will have moments of imbalance, but that's part of the process. What matters is how we respond to those moments. By embracing equanimity, we become less reactive and more responsive. We learn to approach life's ups and downs with a steady heart, which ultimately leads to greater peace and happiness. We can face challenges with resilience and navigate relationships with grace. In the end, equanimity isn't just about managing our emotions. It's about fostering a deeper connection to ourselves and the world around us. It teaches us to appreciate the beauty of life's fleeting moments while remaining grounded in our true nature. As we move forward, let's commit to cultivating equanimity in our daily lives. With every challenge we face, we have an opportunity to practice balance, compassion, and understanding. Let this journey guide us toward a life of greater peace, where we can embrace our emotions without being overwhelmed by them. In this way, we can truly learn to live in harmony with ourselves and others. Conclusion: embracing a life free from anger. As we reach the end of our journey together, it's time to reflect on what we've learned about anger and the path to inner peace. We've explored the nature of anger, how it arises, and the powerful tools Buddhism offers to help us transform this challenging emotion. Now, let's take a moment to embrace the possibility of living a life free from anger. Imagine waking up each day with a sense of calm. Picture yourself facing life's challenges with a smile instead of a frown, ready to respond with kindness rather than frustration. This is not just a dream. It's a reality that can be yours if you commit to the practices we've discussed. We began by understanding that anger often stems from misunderstanding and attachment. When we cling to our desires, expectations, or the actions of others, we invite anger into our hearts. By recognizing this connection, we can begin to let go of our attachments and the need to control every aspect of our lives. This doesn't mean we will never feel anger again. Instead, it means we will have the tools to manage it when it arises. Mindfulness has been a central theme throughout our discussion. By practicing mindfulness, we become aware of our emotions as they arise. We can observe anger without judgment, understanding it as a passing cloud rather than a permanent storm. This awareness allows us to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. With practice, mindfulness becomes a natural part of our daily lives, helping us maintain a sense of peace even in challenging situations. We also explore the transformative power of compassion and loving kindness. These practices not only help us cultivate a sense of connection with others, but also promote self-love. When we treat ourselves with compassion, we become less harsh and critical, allowing us to accept our imperfections. As we extend this kindness to others, we create a ripple effect, fostering an environment where anger is less likely to flourish. Meditation, a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, offers us a refuge from the chaos of our thoughts. By dedicating time each day to quiet our minds, we create space for peace to enter. Through meditation, we learn to observe our anger without becoming consumed by it. We develop resilience, allowing us to return to a state of calm even in the face of provocation. Patience is another essential virtue on this journey. In a world that often prioritizes instant gratification, cultivating patience can feel like a radical act. However, patience teaches us that every moment is a chance for growth. It helps us respond to anger with understanding rather than escalation. When we practice patience, we create a buffer against the emotional triggers that provoke anger. As we reflect on the teachings of non-attachment, we recognize that our identities and experiences are fluid. By letting go of the need to define ourselves through our emotions, we open ourselves to a broader understanding of life. We learn that anger does not define us. It is merely one of many emotions we experience. Embracing non-attachment empowers us to rise above anger, allowing us to respond with grace instead. We also learned about the importance of right speech. Our words carry immense power. They can uplift or harm. By practicing right speech, we choose words that foster understanding and compassion rather than conflict. This commitment to mindful communication creates a supportive environment where anger is less likely to thrive. Living with equanimity means maintaining balance in our emotions. It's about finding stability amid life's ups and downs. When we cultivate equanimity, we become less reactive to external circumstances. We learn to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than triggers for anger. This balanced approach helps us navigate life with grace and resilience. Lastly, we explored the concept of karma and how our actions influence our experiences. When we respond to anger with more anger, we perpetuate a cycle of suffering. However, by choosing to respond with kindness and understanding, we create a positive ripple effect in our lives and the lives of others. This understanding empowers us to break the cycle of anger and create a more peaceful existence. As we conclude this exploration of anger and its transformation, I encourage you to take these teachings to heart. Reflect on the moments when anger arises in your life and consider how you can apply the practices we've discussed. Embrace mindfulness, cultivate compassion, and commit to responding with patience and understanding. Remember, the journey to a life free from anger is not a destination but a continuous process. Each day offers a new opportunity to practice these teachings, to grow, and to cultivate a sense of peace. As you navigate life's challenges, carry the wisdom you've gained with you, knowing that you have the power to choose how you respond to anger. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May you find peace in your heart, joy in your spirit, and the strength to let go of anger, embracing a life filled with love, compassion, and understanding. Together, let's create a world where anger takes a back seat and kindness leads the way. As we part ways, I invite you to reflect on your journey and the steps you can take moving forward. Embrace this newfound wisdom and let it guide you toward a brighter, more peaceful future. Thank you for being a part of Wisdom Woven. If you found value in our discussions, please consider subscribing to our channel, sharing your thoughts in the comments, and inviting others to join us on this path of enlightenment. Together, let's weave a tapestry of wisdom, compassion, and peace in our lives and the world around us.